What up, folks? You've made it. It's your favorite comic on the come up, back for season 3 of the Comedy Chatter Podcast. If you've been searching for a pod that talks all things comedy from the perspective of a rising comic, as well as kicking with some of the dopest comedians in the business, then this is the podcast for you. Yeah! Back at it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Comedy Chatter Podcast, Season 3, Episode 11. This is the final episode of Season 3. Y'all know how I do. I'll give you 11 quick ones. Then after that, I'm on to the next season. So yes, Season 3, Episode 11, the only audio comedy podcast from the perspective of an up-and-coming comedian. Up-and-coming, that is me. I am your dude, Meldon Williams. Hopefully everybody's good, man. I'm sure everybody is. Thank you for listening. This go around, I got a very special guest for y'all. I always say that, but this one actually really, you know what? Hey, if we define it special, this stand-up comedian right here is definitely special. She's been a part of my upbringing. I had to let her know, as far as me, my childhood and growing up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, she was a Detroit staple. On the radio, she was a hell of a comedian, and I finally got a chance to sit down with her. Detroit's queen of comedy, as we like to call her, Miss CoCo. CoCo the comedian. Thank you so much for sitting down with me. We had a great interview, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. Y'all know how I do my shout-outs first. Mr. Roger Feeney over at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. You're looking good, man. I got a chance to hang out with you the past couple weekends, man. When I came back to the Deuce, came up there and chilled with you, man. The comedy club is going well. I'm happy to hear that. And you're looking good as well. So thank you for your continued support. You always know I'm going to shout you out every time on here. Mr. Roger Feeney, good man over at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase. Y'all drop in, man, and check out some live comedy, man. It's always going down at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase every Thursday all the way to Saturday. So y'all check him out. My dude, David Pittman, my sound and editing guy, the guy that helped me out. The guy that helped me to produce this podcast. He told me all the ins and outs, all the things that I would need, equipment and stuff. And it's still, hey, just so y'all know, it's still a labor of love for me. So yeah, everybody knows I'm still trying to get, better. I'm still trying to learn things and edit things. So sometimes you're going to hear stuff on my interviews. It depends on where we're interviewing at. But hey, man, it's all about getting it out there, getting that content out there. It's funny that I'm going to look back on this journey when I'm doing these comedy podcasts. And hear all the times where, you hear stuff in the background or, you know what I'm saying? Like you remember where you were. And, sometimes I'm doing these podcasts in people's cars and in hotel lobbies. But, hey, the bottom line is, hey, man, that you are, getting it together and you kind of putting the content out there. And so you got to start somewhere is basically what I'm saying. So thank you to David Pittman for seeing exactly what it is that I wanted to do and helping me out with the sound and the editing and all of that stuff. So David Pittman, that's my guy. Also, a special shout out this go around to my dude Mike Green, talented comedian out of the suburbs of Detroit. He's got his own comedy club in Waterford, Michigan, called One Night Stands. And he hit me up and he wants me to come and MC November 4th through the 6th. So if anybody's in town, Waterford, Michigan, man, are you close, man, in the neighboring areas, drive on over and holler at your boy. I'm going to be MCing at One Night Stands November 4th through the 6th. That's, both shows, both days, should I say, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Come check us out. The back in the day sponsor this go around. Now, this back in the day sponsor, it cracks me up because somebody tried to go off on me one day after, just hit me up like, man, that's wrong. You be doing that back in the day sponsor, man. You be talking about businesses that went bankrupt. Man, the hell with you. Like, it's just supposed to be a nostalgic type thing, first of all. So we just laughing at the fact that, these were businesses that we used to know back in the day. And now they, ain't around no more. I mean, hell, like we all know during COVID and the pandemic, sometimes shit happens, basically. That's all I'm doing here is just poking fun at the fact that shit happens. If some shit happened to me, guess what? People gonna laugh. So I don't give a damn about you being mad about the fact that I'm talking about bankrupt businesses. Like, go get a life. Is what I can just say to you. Like, if I walk down the street and walk into a cafeteria or something and slip on a goddamn banana peel and fall, you think ain't nobody gonna laugh? All right, they gonna laugh. Like, shit, like that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just have to not be as serious as you been by me being mean for the back of the day sponsors. This is perhaps one of my favorite segments I do on my pod. And so for those of y'all who don't know, I just basically talk about a business that that was a staple at one point that I used to see all the time. And now it's no longer in business because they bankrupt. Whatever the hell happened, they just no longer around. Now that I got that off my damn chest, this business, it's always funny, man. Sometimes you walking through a mall or you walk, you looking, whatever it is, you social media, and you see a business and you wonder, like, how in the hell did this business work? Like, how does this business like go? Especially when you walking in the mall. You ever walk through the mall and you like see like stores and don't nobody be in that motherfucker? Like no one is in there. Like it's always empty. So you're like, how the hell do they stay open? Like how are they making money there? And this is one of those damn businesses, definitely. Y'all remember Tivana? Tivana, that's the place that just sell tea. Like you know how like I know people gonna be like, well shit, they do Starbucks and coffee, blah blah blah. Hey, Tivana, it was that place in the mall you walk past and there'd be a person standing out in the front and they'd be giving you that nasty ass tea. Like I actually had some before. Like yeah, give me some. They be giving you that free sample. That tea be nasty as hell. But Tivana used to just be a store in the mall everywhere I went. Well, hey, not no damn more. Like Tivana is no longer open. They out of there basically, and so that's my back in the day sponsor. And I gotta give them props though, because I would have never think that just a store to just sell damn tea just would you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much like what business is though. Like sometimes you just kind of having the vision and seeing that some shit might work. You know what I'm saying? That everybody else don't see it, and you put all your marbles into it, and either that shit work or it don't. So hey, I think Starbucks had them at one point, but now they closed all the stores. So that's my back in the day sponsor that's go around. Like I said, I ain't necessarily poking fun at them, but I do remember walking around the mall and seeing the store Tivana and drinking some of that nasty ass tea that they was giving out, and I was like, damn, this store is actually working. This is actually a business. No longer though. Back in the day, sponsor Tivana. All right, what's the comedy world chatting about today? Because that's what I do on here. Comedy Chatter Podcast. We chat about stuff in the comedy world. Dave Chappelle. You already know when you're talking about comedy, you talking Dave Chappelle. And that some bitch is out on Netflix right now with another comedy special. I still got to check it out. I'm going to be honest. I haven't checked it out yet. It's called The Closer. Dave Chappelle, The Closer. And I guess this is his sixth special. And it's finally like him like kind of ending things, I guess, with specials. I don't know why he's calling it The Closer. The trailer is hilarious. I saw the trailer where he cussed out Morgan Freeman. That's funny. But yeah, we already know Dave Chappelle is a staple in the comedy community, man. A lot of people call him the greatest of all times, actually. I think that's Richard Pryor. But yeah, like Dave Chappelle is considered the GOAT by many people. He's hilarious. I can't wait to watch the special. And him and Netflix, boy, woo. Like, I do say this. This is where I give Dave all the fucking props. Like they tried to steal the Chappelle show and put the Chappelle show up there without him, y'all know the story, without his, approval. And so he went on and just did like a little quick, like a little quick bit or a little quick, I guess you call it a special, 8 minutes, 46 seconds, talking about my man George Floyd. But in that, I believe he spoke about how, shit, Netflix is robbing him. And so, hey, he told everybody to stop listening to that shit. People did. And now Netflix is fucking with Dave Chappelle. If you pull up your Netflix and see how much shit Dave Chappelle got on Netflix. He got all his specials. He got some of his movies. I just saw recently they about to put Block Party on there. The one we did with the Block Party in New York. The documentary. So yeah, Dave Chappelle is winning. And I think they was paying him $20 million for all them damn specials. So whew, like that man right there is getting it in. And his relationship with Netflix couldn't be better. So shout out to Chappelle. Y'all already know. Shout out to my dudes too. I always love talking about them. But we even Coach CoCo even mentioned them in her interview. So y'all will hear that. But 85 South. My man Carlos Miller, who everybody knows is one of my favorite comedians, man. He on deck, he next. I keep telling y'all that. I can't believe Netflix hasn't, fuck with him with a special yet, but he's hilarious. DC Young Fly, Chico Bean. Like, man, these dudes, man, it's always great how you can just kind of see somebody just kind of start rising and kind of come out of, come from nowhere and get on that grind. These dudes started this podcast, man, a while ago. Just kind of, hey, just kind of what I'm trying to do. Like that's why they're heroes of mine. Hey, you just start one day and just say, you know what, I got something to say. I'm gonna get on the microphone and I'm gonna say it. And those three dudes, man, just decided to go ahead and start this podcast and grinded all of this time to now they're pretty much a staple in the comedy world. So much to the point that they got them hosting the BET Hip Hop Awards. So, hey, man, that's a major accomplishment. I watched them, the other day host the Hip Hop Awards. I didn't watch the damn Hip Hop Awards because don't none of the shit on there. Like I don't know none of these groups and shit at this point. Like I'm a dinosaur. Like shit. As soon as y'all like LL and all them motherfuckers is the ones that I grew up with. So all these young murders and little yachis and all that shit. Y'all can have that. But they opening segment and all of that. Like like these boys, man, they deserve major props for just starting their podcast and grinding to the point where they got all these listeners, and now they got motherfuckers coming to them saying, hey, we want you to host our award show. So that was huge. Shout out to the 85 South boys for that. Speaking of that, man, I talk about this a lot, but this will be the like I said already, the final episode of the Comedy Chatter podcast's third season. I'll be starting the fourth season soon. Y'all make sure y'all check that out, man. Check out all my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. But I do have to admit this at this point. With all the stuff that I've done in stand-up comedy, I'm not saying this much. I'm not saying I'm, some big wig or anything. I'm still very much low on the totem pole. I ain't got but 500 Instagram followers. I got, under 2,000 Facebook friends. So I'm not saying I'm, like huge. And that's pretty much the way they measure everybody nowadays with Instagram. But I am a funny dude. I'm a hell of a writer. And for those people who don't know that, my goal is just to continue to keep doing what I do and get you to know that eventually. So with that said, man, nothing has been more fulfilling than me making this podcast come to life. It's amazing when I Google myself and the first thing that pops up is, hey, Meldon Williams, the Comedy Chatter podcast. Like that's something that it was a goal I had. It was a dream that I had. I said, you know what? I want to start my own podcast because I got something to say. And, hey, it came just like the 85 South boys. It started from nothing, man. I had to just basically go around and ask people how I go about starting one. What do I need? That's why I always do those shout outs because Roger was nice enough to let me do it in the green room of the Comedy Showcase. David Pittman was nice enough to show me, like, the programs and the equipment and the microphones and all the stuff that I needed. And here we are 33 episodes later, 3 seasons in. And I couldn't be happier. I'm telling you, this is the most fulfilling thing that I've done comedy-wise. I look around and I see Kevin Hart, man, doing something similar. I see all types of people that are doing like comedy podcasts where they're interviewing comedians, and man, it's just fulfilling. Not only to have this out there, have this content out there, but just to sit down and talk to these dope ass comedians that. Like my man said on Hustle and Flow, he said, I know I ain't nothing but a slice of cheese off your motherfucking cracker, man. He said, I know you a big rapper and all that, and I'm just trying to make it. So that's kind of the way I be feeling. I'm like, man, for these people to sit down and talk to me is huge for me. It's huge for me. You know what I'm saying? I done interviewed D.L. Hughley. I done interviewed Roy Wood Jr. I done interviewed Ali Sadiq. I done interviewed some notable comedians that's doing big shit, in the world of comedy. And for them to sit down and just, give me 15, 20 minutes of their time is huge. So I just had to, let y'all know that, man. Let y'all know that I'm going to keep them coming. Like I told you, I talk about how sometimes, like, hey, the sound quality and, where I'm interviewing them, all that stuff is stuff that I'm just going to be looking back on and laughing about and saying, man, that's where I started. That's where I came from. But I'm definitely going to continue this journey. It's all about me doing what I always do, and I need to put this on a T-shirt. But hey, I see a goal, and then I be a goal. That's pretty much what I do throughout my life, no matter what it's been. So if it's something that Meldon Williams say he gonna do, then damn it, he gonna do it. So thank you very much for y'all continued support. Thank you for y'all shares. Thank you for y'all's likes. Thank y'all for telling everybody, hey man, my man Melly Mel got a dope ass podcast, and y'all need to check it out. So without further ado, I want y'all to sit back, relax, and check out Detroit's Queen of Comedy, CoCo, because she's about to give y'all some laughs. She had me laughing throughout the whole damn interview, so I'm sure y'all going to enjoy it. D-Town, stand up. Y'all make sure y'all tell everybody that I'm interviewing CoCo on season 3, episode 11 of the Comedy Chatter Podcast. Let's get it. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen, for kicking it at the Comedy Chatter Podcast. I have none other, and Lord knows we're about to laugh about it, but I've been Facebook stalking, Instagram stalking her for a while at this point, but I finally got her, the D's own, Detroit's queen of comedy, Miss CoCo. How you doing, ma'am?
That's a lot of pressure. No, for real, like when people give you an introduction like that, you have to be able to follow that introduction. So when you can't follow the introduction, they be like, yeah, cause see, you heard everything they said. She could dance on the water, not get wet. She breastfeed other people's babies, pick greens.
No.
She could do the jit.
Guess what? We ain't got to worry about that because you can do it. You can do all that.
No, listen. When you give an introduction like that, and I learned this from some of the comedy veterans a long time ago. When you give a big introduction, they've been in 25 movies, Die Hard again. Oh, you ain't Die Hard enough. Wait a minute, you got a bulletproof vest on. Die Hard 25. When you give an introduction like that, I'm just using that as an example. When you walk on stage, people looking at you like,
that's true.
You better do something.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. When you stand up, boy, you don't want them to put too much on it. Yeah.
But now with the whole world of social media, when people know who on the show, they could just go to whatever format of social media, YouTube, Instagram,
and check you
Twitter, whatever, and check it out. So I hope I live up to that introduction. So what we doing?
Oh, you definitely are. Yeah, you definitely gonna live up to that. I ain't even worried about it. So like I said, I know we gonna laugh about it, but man, I want to know first and foremost, when you just had this crazy man just kind of Instagramming you and Facebook and talking about some, hey, I need to get this interview that you had, you didn't know who it was, and I just wondered what was like going through your mind, like, well, like who is like, because I mean, it's been a good it's been a good 6 months at this point. Good year, okay, exactly. So that's how much I've been trying to get at her. So what was you thinking when I was just like, hey man, come on, I'm trying to get this interview, like you want to get this together, and then of course just trying to make it happen, the places, this, that, and the other. So
I'm gonna tell you what I did first. I went to your social media. I did. I went to all your social media platforms and was looking like, let me see if he a stalker, or he a comedian for real, or he doing an interview for real. So once I went to the page and I saw, some of the people get interviewed and stuff like that, I said, okay, I could breathe a sigh of relief that you're not a stalker. Whenever we meet up to do an interview, I wasn't gonna have to had no brass knuckles on the nunchucks like that. Speaking of nunchucks, this is really a random thought. My first pair of nunchucks, we used to make them in the hood, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't buy them.
you had nunchucks too.
You made them.
That's funny.
You got an old broom, a rake, and a saw. But see, in the hood, ain't no such thing as an old broom or a rake.
That's true.
So, but you messed them up. You saw it in half. First, you got to get the chain. So you find a chain, and then you get a nail, and you saw a broom in half, and you put it together, and it never really worked real good.
Man.
So you be thinking you doing karate, and the whole other side of the nunchuck flew off.
Oh, man, be done flew off. That's what I knew where that was going.
It was a setup. That was a random thought. Okay, here you go.
Yes. All right, so take me back. I always kind of usually start with, kind of where comedians started. So the way I remember you, CoCo's House of Comedy, like Detroit, this, that, and the other, and then you got to take me back to some of those moments. How did CoCo's House of Comedy come about, and what were some of your favorite moments when you was holding down that club?
Wow, so wait a minute. Let me go back. Let me cut my time machine out. So I had been doing comedy almost 10 years. I started doing comedy in 91, but I had almost been doing comedy 10 years when CoCo's House of Comedy came to be. So me and some of my folks sat down and we was having a conversation about we needed a spot in the city to do comedy. Now wait, let me start over. Because there were spots in the city to do comedy. We had B's Comedy Kitchen.
B's, I heard about B's.
We had All Jokes Aside, shout out to Raymond Lambert and Mary Lindsay and all them. Because there was one in Chicago and also one here in Detroit.
Yeah.
And then my folks sat down with me and they was like, you know what? We need to put this comedy concept together. And we sat down and talked about it. And they utilized their resources, I utilized mine. and we put the whole comedy energy together. I do miss that spot though.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Because CoCo's House of Comedy, like, keep in mind, I'm, kind of grew up, like, graduated in 95.
Okay.
And so when we would, like, Detroit was hot for us people in Ann Arbor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I come from Ann Arbor.
Deuce.
Yeah, the Deuce. So we used to drive up for Legends. We used to drive up for all of that stuff. And CoCo's was one of them spots. And we was like, man, we got to go see CoCo's this time. I did this weekend. So, yeah, it was just one of those real tremendous places that we had to always come. And I can just remember it always being hype. I remember Foolish hosting. I remember you in there tearing the place down. And so I'm sure you missed that. Yes, definitely. Do you have any some of your favorite comics that dropped through that you can remember? Like, man, I love when they came through.
Every comedian, and people say this is hard, but every comedian that I ever worked with brought something different to the table. So Cedric the Entertainer brought something that Mike Epps didn't bring.
Yeah.
And Mike Epps brought something. So Mike Epps brought something that Steve Harvey didn't bring, and D.L. Hughley. Everybody brought something different to the table. It was a different vibe, a different energy. The female comics, Monique brought something different. Cheryl Underwood, Adele Givens. Everybody brought something different. So all of the comics are my favorite because they all got a joke that I like.
Yeah.
They all got a joke or something that I be like, oh, I love that joke. Even though they may not do it anymore, but every comedian that I've ever watched has a joke that I'm like, I love that joke. And it may be 15, 20, 25 years old, but it's just a joke that I hold close to me. So I was excited about working with everybody.
Of course.
Rodney Winfield and Renato Ray and everybody. I'm getting excited.
Yes.
Oh, okay, wait, let me calm down. Okay.
Remembering all them, yeah.
Yes.
Now, you just mentioned some heavy hitters, too. I'm going to ask you this. Did you know, because everybody knows those names you just mentioned now. Did you know that they were going to be great, like back then when you were there coming to CoCo's?
So, most of those people had already had TV credits or movie credits.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
They had TV and movie credits, and they was, killing big venues like the Joe Louis Arenas and the Fox Theaters and different theaters all over the country, all over the world, actually, and doing great stuff. So for them to come to a intimate venue like CoCo's was like, wow.
Yeah.
I'm actually here working with this person. And I had met them along the course of, like I said, I had been in comedy almost 10 years. I started in 91. So a lot of those people I had met or went to see, and then I was also into radio. So radio afforded me...
We're going to get to that, definitely.
Yeah, radio afforded me the opportunity to meet a lot of people, and it gave me a different leverage that a lot of comics may not have had. Yeah. So I came in with, oh, you're a comedian and you do radio. So it established a different relationship.
Gotcha. That's true. We definitely gonna get into the radio. But speaking of you saying you started in '91, I always ask comedians that I'm interested in this: did comedy find you, or did you find comedy? I want to know how when you started with somebody like, girl, you funny, you need to get out there, or was you just like, man, I'm interested in that, I'm gonna go out here and try this?
That's a grown-up question. Okay, so comedy found me, but comedy found me early.
Okay.
I mean, I was a kid and I got bullied all the time.
Oh.
So it's only so many fights that you can have.
Exactly.
It's only so many boys that you can fight. It's only so many girls that you could push out the swing. It's only so much. Yeah, because I used to fight, but I wasn't a bully, but people would push me. I'd be like, no. They'd be like, oh, I'd be like, okay. And then when I dropped them haymakers, I remember some of the principals and stuff at my school telling my mother and my father that I had a problem. I didn't have a problem. People picked on me.
Exactly.
And, I was about that life. But I got tired of that. So I figured out I had a sense of humor, and people forget a fight. You could fight, and if you fight Monday, by Thursday, they didn't forgot to fight. But if you talk about somebody's mama,
true,
about the fact that they can't read,
true,
or and I would never do it now, or the fact that they had a body odor, it's like it goes on. So comedy found me, and it became my thing, my weapon that I used to get people off of me.
Gotcha.
And when I got into entertainment, I used to sing and act.
Okay.
So when I got in entertainment, I got in as a comedian. I don't know why, because it's much less stressful. I don't want to say that. When you're a singer, you got other people as a support system on stage.
Yeah.
You got backup singers, you got musicians. When you're a comedian, it's just you, the mic, the stool, the bottle of water, the drink, or whatever it is.
That's what I love about it,
and all them people looking at you.
Yep, that's what I love about it. Yep. You are pretty much a gunslinger, like you're all by yourself. I dig that about it. Speaking of that, in terms of coming up in Detroit, doing comedy in Detroit, you guys have a comedy fraternity here, from what I noticed. Now, keep in mind, like I said fraternity because just we all know that keeping it real, comedy is a male-dominated venue. So you the females that are in it, man, you guys are in it with like if it's a show, it's 4 dudes, 1 woman. And I know usually you that 1 woman like gunslinging. So I wanted to know about the comedy fraternity here, the people that you came up with. I mentioned Foolish, you guys did radio and this, that, and the other. But are there some other notables that you remember just kind of coming up with?
Oh, my goodness. When I started, we did a lot of mainstream rooms. Mm-hmm. So there was not necessarily a thing called black comedy.
Yeah.
You had to learn comedy to work mainstream rooms. So some of the people that influenced me, Ken Brown, Keith Ruff, Elliot Branch, Bill Bouchard. It was just, you went to some of the places was Joey's or Paisanos or Mark Ridley's or whatever. So you went and you worked those rooms and you learned the real essence of comedy.
Exactly.
You learn to monitor your time. You learn that a host only did X amount of minutes up front. You bring the feature up. The feature do that time. The host come back. The host bring the headliner up, and you done.
Yeah.
It wasn't no mega shows like some places do now. The show started at 7. That mean the doors open at 7. The show don't start till 9:30.
Exactly.
About 11:30, muck, tuck, and skuck on, and you didn't forgot what you there for.
Yep. So true.
Being like a Viking in comedy, I kind of go in like, listen, I ain't gonna be here all night. You ain't finna put 25 comics in front of me. They were like, well, you the headliner. Yes, I'm the headliner, but you're not finna put 10 or 12 comics in front of me to do a guest spot, and they doing 15-minute guest spots.
Exactly.
So and the comics be whispering like, oh, CoCo said. Yeah. I did say that.
Yeah.
Because that's disrespectful to me for, you got a show that's supposed to start at 8, but then you got 4 comics that want to do guest spots, and then they won't just go up and do a 5-minute guest spot. They got to do a 20-minute animated guest spot, and by the time you get on stage, you 10 o'clock, and your adrenaline and flow and stop. It's only so many times you go to the bathroom before a show starts. I'm just sorry.
Very true. And also, like you said, like when it comes to you don't want to hold fans comedy hostage. That's what we call it.
Yes.
So you didn't kept them in there. Like, so by the time the headliner come on, they laughed out. You know what I'm saying?
There's nothing left.
Yeah. So I get that totally. Tell me about how WJLB FM 98, You and Foolish came about. Because, man, like I tell y'all, y'all were part of my childhood. I'm waking up every morning. Speaking of that, side note, have you seen the BMF yet on Stars?
I started watching it.
You started watching it? Okay. All right. So it's an ode to the D, basically, the whole thing. So when they played, they was getting up for school, they played that Hello Detroit. That took me right back to me waking up every day with Sammy Davis and listening to You and Foolish. So how did that come about?
So when I started radio in 91, Mason would always talk to me like, maybe I started radio in 96, let me say that. I started comedy in 91, started radio in 96. But Mason would come to me and ask me, was I interested in doing comedy? I'm like, what time I got to get up? Because I was a nurse.
Okay.
I'm like, what time I got to get up? I got to be there at 5:30. No. So the radio station started paying attention to me, and they would ask me to host shows. Hey, can you come in and host this show? We doing ladies' night out, and we going to have so-and-so and so-and-so. Do you want to come in and do it? Of course I want to come in. It's another stream of revenue. Yes, I want to come in, and it allowed me to meet other entertainers and stuff like that. So I would go in and do the show and host the show. Hey, we doing this. We doing a comedy show. You want to open the show? Absolutely. So I did it for a while, and Mason would ask me. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I quit my job as a nurse. It was a faith walk. I quit my job, and I said, I'm going to do comedy full time. So got the call in like September 96. Hey, we doing the morning show, and we doing some things with Mason. Do you want to come on and do it? Yeah.
Okay.
My buddy Motown Mike, that was the production director, called me. He said, hey, they finna call you and offer you a job. They called me and offered me a job. I didn't know anything about salary or anything. I reached out to my buddy Raymond Lambert. He reached out to his friend and negotiated my salary. Started in radio and then wound up doing the show with Foolish. And it's just been a continuum of radio. Now I'm sort of on a radio hiatus. Would love to do radio again, but it would definitely have to be on my terms.
All right. I've always been interested in that because, like I said, that was one of those things that, listen, that got me up to where I am now. Like listening to CoCo and Foolish and Mason and all of y'all getting it in on the radio. Definitely. All right. So now we up to Def Comedy Jam, and I'm gonna tell you just like this. People, I don't know why they done slept on it. I don't know why they done forgot it. But your performance on Def Comedy Jam, like they talk about Eddie Griffin, they talk about all these, but you had one of the biggest ovations ever when you made that damn drink. When you made that drink on stage, and all the people in the roof damn near blew off that place. So I just want to know about your Def Comedy Jam experience, your journey. How was it when you did that show? Because it was so memorable to me.
Okay, so interesting that it's trending on TikTok now.
Okay.
It's trending on
That's
TikTok.
hilarious too. How stuff back in the days is coming back full circle because of TikTok.
That was 1996 for real.
Yeah.
So it's trending on TikTok now. It's trending on Twitter. It's trending on social media.
Yeah.
So
hilarious.
I auditioned for Def Jam like 4 or 5 times.
Oh, okay. Bob Sumner, I'm thinking.
Bob Sumner.
All right, shout out.
I was the talent coordinator, and I had auditioned at least 4 or 5 times. So when I finally auditioned, they was holding auditions at All Jokes Aside. I did the audition, blew the audition up, got the call to go do Def Jam, and they had changed it from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Oh, so this was in LA by then.
Yes.
I don't think I knew that. I thought it was still in
No, so they moved it from New York.
I do remember it moved.
They moved it to the West Coast, and instead of having one particular host, they had different celebrity hosts.
Exactly.
Steve Harvey, DL, Cedric. So George Wallace hosted.
George Wallace hosted George.
He hosted.
All right.
And I had been doing the joke for a while.
Okay.
So I got with the stage coordinator, everybody, and I said, this is the joke that I want to do. And she made sure I had my ice. She said, okay, don't put your ice in until I said, I'm looking at her like, I've been doing this for a while.
I know how it works.
and when I did it, and I got the standing ovation, and mind you, everybody was in the audience.
Yeah.
So Brian McKnight was in the audience.
Oh my
all
God.
The entertainers.
See, that's what I want to hear.
All the East Coast entertainers was in the audience.
Wow.
So I think Mike Epps also taped with me. So rest in peace to Tiny Lister. He was in the audience.
Okay, Zeus, Tiny Lister, yeah.
D.L. Hughley and Brian McKnight. All the entertainers were in the audience.
So you blew the whole roof off with everybody there.
And when I got the standing ovation, in my head, I'm like, okay.
Like, where do I go now?
And it was so, it was so amazing. I could feel the stage shaking.
I'm sure.
Because people was hitting on the stage
Yeah,
because they were sitting right
by
the stage.
You know how our people are. So yeah, we not just like they losing it. They doing cartwheels.
So the cameraman that was running the crane camera, he's shaking. I'm looking at him, and the camera's shaking. So I'm trying not to look at him, but everything was moving. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Right.
So when I finished, I'm like, okay. I went into my other jokes. So when I came on stage, they grabbed a bottle of liquor because it was real liquor in that bottle, and Russell Simmons was backstage. He was like,
oh my!
He was like, yo,
my Russell Simmons.
Yeah, Russell was
man.
He was standing there waiting when I walked off stage. He was like, yo, word, like, yo. He's like, yo, like that. And you know how Russell talks.
Yeah.
Like, yo. I'm like, and everybody like met me backstage. They was like, listen.
That was it. That's the ovation you tried to get.
They said literally, once I did that, I could have said thank you, good night, and walked off stage.
You could have. Yeah. I'm talking about it was, oh my God, that was the beginning of your set. So I people always have slept on that because I hear about Simply Marvelous, how great she was. I hear Anthony Brown, the one that I remember is when you made that damn drink and the timing of it, just every line you said, another thing came out, and then boom. Man, it was hilarious.
Shout out to the comedian, my man JB, who helped me create and perfect that joke.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. Okay.
Yes, definitely. And last but not least, Ms. CoCo, I don't want to keep you all day because Lord knows I could. But I always kind of ask the comedians who they're fanning on right now. So who out there is making CoCo laugh? It could be like, some of the, notable names, or it could be just some up-and-coming young guns, some comedy slingers now that's just having you cracking up. So who's impressing CoCo right now?
Okay, so do they have to be a comedian?
No,
Okay.
Give me somebody, yeah.
I'm loving Lizzo and everything that she's doing in terms of talking about embracing your body image and all that stuff like that. I'm loving her with her message and what she's doing. It's an amazing pastor named Mike Todd that I love. That just wrote a book called Crazy Faith. I'm loving him and the way he connects God to people and people to God, the way he normalizes a spiritual relationship in the conversation. It's a lot of people that's just like, I get gratification out of watching a lot of people do stuff. The TikTokers, the social media folks, the people that really, really got something to say, and everybody has something to say. So I'm fanning on a bunch of the female comics, like that's really bringing the heat to the stage.
Yeah.
What's the group? 85 South.
Okay. Carlos Miller and all of them down there in the ATL.
I'm loving them babies that's doing their thing. I'm loving anybody that's doing the true essence of what their creative space is.
I like it. Yep.
Poetry.
Yep.
If you a painter, artist, whatever you do, if you melt crayons and make candles, whatever your gift is, anybody that's brave enough to live in their gift, I am saluting you and watching you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I do want you to tell everybody where they can catch you. I heard you got some movies coming up. Man, tell us all about your social media and everything so they can keep up with CoCo.
So I just finished a movie called Fake Friends. I just finished doing a documentary about gambling addiction. I got another project that I really, really can't disclose because I just signed that non-disclosure agreement, and I want this to come out. But it's going to be a great movie about family and relationships and stuff like that. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, CoCo the Comic. On Twitter, I'm CoCo the Comic. On Facebook, I'm Ginger Hudson. Don't ask me why I'm Ginger Hudson on Facebook. Stalkers do exist. TikTok.
I'm not one of them.
No, he is definitely not one of the stalkers. So follow me on all social media platforms. I got some stuff going on. I'm constantly making some stuff and doing some things, and just support the creatives and the artists. And listen, I gotta say this. Stop scaring your kids on social media. That is so traumatic. And I know people tell me what they doing on that show. Stop traumatizing your kids at your pleasure, okay?
I saw that. I saw some of them videos.
Because you scared of spiders. If somebody threw a spider on you, you would fall out.
As a grown-up.
As a grown-ass person.
So you're right.
Thank y'all.
You're right. Boom. Thank you so much, CoCo. That's all I needed. I appreciate you. And hopefully we work together somewhere down the line.
We will. Whenever you in town.
Whenever I'm in town. Exactly. A heartfelt thank you to all the listeners that have been listening to the podcast. I'm truly humbled and I thank you. Also, a very special thanks to my girl CoCo, D-Town's finest, for donning the podcast. Make sure y'all check out CoCo's Instagram, Facebook, and all her other social media platforms for future show and date information. Make sure y'all stay tuned because I'm coming back with a better than ever season 4 of the Comedy Chatter podcast, where you'll of course get super dope comedians and of course your boy, Meldon Williams. Y'all be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Peace out.